We are only 7 actual days in, and this year's already seeming like it's ready to go off the rails. But we are here for our weekly gathering. It is the 7th of January, the year 2020. It's a Friday, and what do we do on these Fridays? Especially when we're not prepared. We have prepared. We got brand new for the new Bubble Friday. Let's just call that Nat sound, if you will. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne. I'm here with you, and you're here with me, whether it is live on 8 ish in the morning on the 7th, I'm sorry, the 8th of January. I miscounted. The first was a Friday, so this is the 8th day of January in 2020. And this is Bubble Friday. Bubble Friday is a day where we celebrate getting done with the past week and done with the past 5 days of work or whatever, how many days of work, and preparing yourself for a time of rest. And we do it by doing something really silly, something really childlike, something that doesn't seem like it's going to be fitting in for us as grown adults, but it works so well, actually. Blowing bubbles. And I have a brand new box, bag, whatever you call it, container of bubbles I bought from the local Walmart. But a really one of those bad bubble wands. I'm not a fan of these bubble wands, but it works. And so we have brand new bubbles for a brand new year, and we can debate the brand new decade as you will. But so far, the old year looking a whole lot like the past year. So on this Bubble Friday, we take some time to blow out the stress, blow out the strife, blow out the issues that were the past 5 days of whatever work, and prepare for what should be some time off and time or down, at least downtime. I worked 7 days a week, so I don't necessarily have time off, but I do have downtime from other things, and I do take time to enjoy what I can. Like I said, I don't like these bubble wands, so we'll see how that's going to work going forward. If you are a person who wants to be an adult and you are a legal age and in a place where you're responsible about stuff, and you want to instead take in some bubbles, which we've done a lot over the past couple of weeks in the breaks, then by all means do that when you get a chance. Make sure you are at home and you're safe when you do that. If you don't have the time, don't have the inclination, or think the whole bubble thing's kind of silly, you can still participate fairly easily and a lot more adultish, if you will. Just take a moment, take a deep breath in, and then release that breath. Do that as many times as you feel like you need to do it. And you have inhaled to kind of take in all the week, and then exhale to kind of let it go, expel the demons or the gremlins or whatever you want to call the boogaloos of the last week. Bubble Friday is not meant to be, the Bubble Friday part's not meant to be all that serious, not meant to be anything that's legalistic. You just take some time whenever you can, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a Friday or your Friday. If you need a chance to kind of blow off some steam from something that was bad, you take a moment to just enjoy it. And being childlike is the whole point of the bubble thing. It's something we did at a past radio job where we had an outdoor break area where we can kind of gather around and just kind of basically was a smoking area, but we kind of sat around and kind of chit chat and just gathered, and we just did something to just be silly and blow off some stress during some really stressful times quite a while back. Now, Bubble Friday for me, and hopefully for you, is also a time where I get a chance to still practice my talking into microphone skills, which I don't get to do as much anymore. Although I do plenty of stuff on podcasting and video and stuff like that, and so I'll complain about you not listening enough of that stuff a little bit later. But this is a chance for me to practice my talking to microphone skills, live stuff, and as this has grown, not so much get political, but do sort of commentary on things going on. That's one of the things that I've been trying to grow over the years as my air quotes brand, if you will. So that has been something that's going on. And today has been a weird day. The week has been a weird week. The year as it is has been a weird year. And the topics I had, I After going through the holiday break and doing stuff from home and doing stuff kind of as is, I came in with a plan to do things a bit more structured, a bit more focused, if you will. Not so much scripted, but like I said, having more of a better defined plan. And that hadn't worked out quite so great so far. We're only 8 days into the year. Now, granted, um, the last year with itself was quite a wild ride, and we're not going to the full extent of going back towards 2016, 2015, if we're going to count that the start time. But this last year has been a wild ride, and this last week has been a really wild ride. If you follow me for my weekly wrap up podcast, you will get to hear the full extent of how crazy it was, especially on Wednesday, what went down on the Capitol. Not just the steps, but all inside the Capitol and similar places and places around the nation. We're not going to so much get into that stuff. If you don't know what happened, as I said, look for the weekly wrap up podcast in wherever you find your podcasts out there, or to go to thisisaconversation.com sometime Saturday afternoon and look for the posting for the weekly wrap up, the updated podcast. So look for that. That will get you deeper. I'm going to go deep into that in that venue. But uh, like it says in the title or in the description, the title says we've already lost our security deposit for 2021, and the description basically said this has been a wild year. And while 2020 seemed like it lasted a decade, 2021 has only lasted a week, and it seems like it's lasted a decade. So we're in for a whole lot more. All the things that we were dealing with a week ago, they didn't go away. Nothing actually changed in the small period of time that we had from flipping a calendar, from dropping the ball in Times Square, from doing the things that end. Most of the problems and most of the troubles and most of the worries that we had a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, a few months ago are still there. Let's go back. Let's literally go back to what we're dealing with in January. In January, we were dealing with a whole lot of just political stuff here in the United States and preparing for the impeachment of Donald J. Trump, which happened. He was impeached. He was not found criminally charged in the Senate, so he was not removed from office. We've not quite gotten that far with any of our leaders here yet. But we're preparing for all that craziness. And in the midst of that, we were hearing a little bit about this disease coming out of Wuhan, China. And then basically a month after we're done with impeachment, we're shutting down the nation and the world. And some of the people are sort of pointing fingers at the people dealing with impeachment, saying that we weren't prepared for this because we were too busy beating up the president, so the president couldn't get ready for this big thing he had to do. Turns out, in my opinion, and in actual fact, he wasn't ready for it regardless, and we're in a pretty big world of hurt right now because of that. But if you want to just mark it off by March, when we started dealing with the very basic stuff of coronavirus and shutting things down, so you want to mark things off by later that in the summer when we started to see the spikes coming up. We want to mark things off as the fall when we saw the second spike coming up and we were being told we couldn't gather for traditional holidays and spend time with families. Or you want to spend time, break it off to literally the last month of December, when everything we were expecting a brand new magical cure in the sense of this vaccine that was promised and was delivered before the end of the year. Two were before the end of the year, but then the promise to get things going and get the ball rolling and going back to normal, and a promise of 20 million vaccines in arms by the end of the year, and the year has flipped over and we're basically right at 5. Using the coronavirus as the larger crux of things to complain about, we got problems that aren't going away anytime soon. And because COVID-19 had a ripple effect with so many different things that became issues over the course of, I guess that you could say, 9 months from that point, 8, 9 months from that point. But going forward, the economy is doing okay. just okay. There are a lot of people who cannot operate at a standard to keep things going. So if you're in the restaurant business, you're probably not doing as great as you'd like to be. If you're in the entertainment business, entertaining business, should say, you're probably not doing as great as you'd like to be. If you're running a movie theater, you know things aren't working the way you like to be. If you in any sort of support and you have to either see more support to up the ante for people needing a lot more basic stuff. If you are a janitorial service, you are making bank right now if you can keep people employed because there are people that need extra cleaning all over the place. If you are a tech support service, you are probably doing fairly well, although your stress level is up because it's not like you can go into a building and fix stuff. You're doing a lot of things remotely and managing remote stuff. I work with tech for education, and because education is remote, there's a lot of that. If you're in education, there are plenty of spaces for you. You may not see that because of the way things are looking right now and the fears of things are going on, but it's there. But there's other businesses that aren't doing so well. My love business, radio, is not doing well at all. It wasn't doing so great before this, and now if you have me speak out a little loudly than I should, the ability to use this tragedy as an actual excuse for a lot of things is working out. There's a lot of house cleaning happening, and a lot of new moves to technological advancements that are happening due to conditions that are forcing out a lot of people. And something that I say a lot in my talk about, my 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 failure to advance in a broadcasting career, which I say is essentially on me, but because it is on me, is that it's one thing to not be able to keep up a good job in a business uh, when there's not a lot of spots there. It's a totally different thing when people with actual good talent, good standing, and have been actually bringing it every day, every week, every day to make things happen, can't keep good jobs because of the market that things live in. There are spots for more things in some cases and spots for less things in some cases. And in a lot of cases, those spots that are lesser of are being coveted extremely well. But the big issue is not so much me complaining about not being on the radio. The big issue is all of us in persevering and moving forward and making our way past and through. Through is as it's going on, past is when it's over. No one knows when past will be past, when we can say this is a done deal. But we do know that we are going through this and we'll be going through this for a while. We have estimates on when things should get better. As we said, those estimates aren't working out so well. So, what do we do? In the description, I say stay limber and stay hydrated. That's something I put out on Wednesday when the siege started in D.C. In a tweet or someplace. Basically, stay. For people out there, stay limber, stay hydrated because this is going to be a long night. You need to make sure that you are in top condition to deal with it. For 2021, stay limber and stay hydrated because we got a ways to go. There's a lot going on here in the United States politically. I have friends that I talk to on social media in various places around the world. They have their own issues. And the big issue, of course, is things like COVID 19 specifically, because the COVID 19 thing puts a damper on pretty much everybody. When everybody is closed off and forced to isolate and wear masks and just go to extreme lengths to just do basic stuff, it makes things harder. It makes things cost more. It makes things more frustrating and more difficult to get done. And it's causing a lot of stress on all of us. Just admit it. You are stressed. You are overly worked up about what's going on. And I get that because I am. You are frustrated because something that you wanted to happen did not, cannot, maybe will not happen because of COVID 19. And early on, we were blaming some Chinese guy biting a bat because we thought it was just something that simple that was going to be a 2 week issue. It's not a 2 week issue. It's a serious issue. It's a big issue. And a lot of people are hurting. A lot of people have hurt. And we've lost people because of this thing. There is no blame for this thing. There's a lot of blame to go for how actions and interactions and reactions and non-actions cause things to get worse. But there's not necessarily blame for. You can't go out and point a finger at the coronavirus and put it on punishment. Take its Nintendo away. That's not going to fix anything. And in many cases, you can't go out there and do the same thing for leaders or people in the way or just general public who are doing stupid things and not letting things get done either. You're just going to have to deal with it and get through it until we can get past it. You're going to have to do what you can to de-stress, even if it's something as simple as Bubble Fridays. Relax. Find time to adjust to things going on. Find time to deal with some things that you may not want to deal with. And find times to lock yourself away from the world. And if you want to cry, cry. If you ever need someone to talk to chat with, to work through stuff, to just kind of throw ideas back and forth, I am always here. And you can ask my wife. I answer the phone pretty much all the time. So if you ring me, if you send me a message, send me a text, I will respond pretty quickly if I have the ability to do that. But this is going to be a year. Every year is a year. This is going to be a year. And it's going to be a year whether you thought that general happiness and unicorns and rainbows are going to happen on the flip of the calendar or not. We knew we had plans on getting better. We knew we have ideas what's going on, but we're already seeing 8 days in, the first full week in, of things that were planned being canceled, being postponed, being moved around, being reworked for safety reasons, for time reasons, for ability reasons, for lack of funds reasons, for lack of effort reasons. This week I am preparing at my college to get ready for orientation for teachers, for staff, for students next week, for classes start the week after that. And while this is our third iteration of going over the mostly virtual learning, there's a lot of adjustments that need to be done. And in fact, while we have been mandated to basically be a more or less virtual school, and all of our work, all of our assignments, everything being done, all grades being done on the virtual level using the virtual system, we also have we have students that are at a disadvantage technology wise, also a disadvantage just upbringing, if you will, that sending them home with a computer and telling them to log in and click this button at a certain time doesn't actually work. Just like I'm finding with my own daughter and her school, while she is able to pick up on a lot of things very quickly because I think she's a genius, there's also some things that because she is in the third grade, she is not developed enough to do on her own. So she obviously doesn't have the discipline to stay focused all day. In fact, she's had bad dojos quite a few times for goofing off in class and watching YouTube videos when she should be doing some assignments while in class, and she's actually in school. So we have to adjust with the fact that we're moving with the technology and we have everything we can do to make it work out more or less perfectly, except for the humans. And as always, it's not the humans' fault. It's our fault if we can't help the humans get adjusted to what's going on. So there's a lot going on. I've had a lot of things go wrong in this 1 week building up to all our opening stuff last week that it's been insane. And I've been basically redoing plans and rethinking things out all week long. And today there's a large build up to prepare for stuff going on next week. And we hope we have the equipment that's in to make it work. Otherwise, there'll be some trips to the store to make things happen by 8 a.m. Monday morning. I've got a lot of work to do. I don't know particularly who you are, or maybe I don't know you at all because this is going off on the internet and you can be seen by whatever. But I have friends, I have family, I have associates, I have people, internet folks I've chatted with. I know y'all do specific things, but I don't necessarily know exactly what it is you got going on, what you're going through for each and every one of them. So I can tell you because it is life. I know you've got a lot of things that are that are floating around, a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of balls in the air, a lot of plates that are spinning right now. And it's pretty contentious to figure out which ones are more important that must stay in the air and which plates in that analogy you can let fall for a moment to keep the other ones going because they're worth more or there's less stuff on it. Stay limber. Do whatever you can to keep yourself in the game. Do whatever you can to keep yourself abreast of what's going on. If you're in some sort of trade, there are trade association journals and publications that tells you how your business is working that can help you stay ahead of the curve. If trends are happening, that if you're working on the local level, a small level, you can see on a larger scale things are coming and you can prepare for. Stay hydrated. Do whatever you can to make sure you are physically taken care of. I can tell you right now, be totally, completely transparent and honest right now. My mental health at this moment is not at the greatest. The greatest. And that includes 2 years ago getting fired and trying to figure out how I'm going to pay bills, going forward. Because there is so much going on that it's hard for a person like me who while my office looks like chaos, my work ethic and the progress we do and the things we produce is based off of order, complete and more or less like Cobra level order. Although Cobra lost all the time, but you get the point of that. So my mental state right now is all out of sorts because I can't plan for anything past 2 weeks because something will happen within 2 days that will make that 2 week plan just inevitable. It just will just ruin it. It's worse than the weather. It is literally something 2 weeks out can't be done because something will happen within the next 12 hours that will shift what's going on. And if I can't plan out 2 weeks, I can't plan out a month, I can't plan out a few months, I can't plan out a semester, I can't make plans for next year. And part of my job is to keep an eye on things around the corner and be prepared for the next year ahead of time. Working a year ahead of time as we're working things right now, figuring out what we can do for then, and we can't figure out what to do 2 weeks forward. I know I am stressed. I know literally I am depressed. I am sometimes kind of manic when things work and I have to work at it. And like I said, this last year has been a weird year for all of us, and it has taken a toll on me mentally, physically, spiritually, all the E's on those ends. And right now, I'm not in the greatest place, but I'm moving forward because I'm doing what I can to make sure things are good. This can be a reminder. It can be a warning. It can be a statement of love. It could be a swift kick in the butt. Stay limber. Stay hydrated. Get ready for a really, really, really big year. Because I'm not going to say 2021 is going to be your greatest. There's a whole lot of hype in 1999 because 2020 was coming and it was a great chance to market the greatest decade ever and the greatest things ever. And this is going to be your year. And this has been a year where many of those people who were pushing those things and were on the ways to great stuff hit roadblocks, ran into bump walls, had tires fall flat on them while they're in the middle of the highway and got stopped and had to adjust. You've adjusted already. There'll be more adjustments to come, more things to do to go forward, and you will survive. You will be great. You will be awesome. I know that. But stay limber, stay hydrated. In life, in general, make sure that you are able to be up to the tasks that are at hand and be prepared for a few tasks that you did not know that would be at hand, and take care of yourself. If you're feeling a little down, give me a call, give me a buzz. We can chat about stuff on that end. Like I said, I answer the phone or the text, the emails as often as they pop up. They pop up and take care of it. If you need to take time away to decompress and de-stress, find the time, find the space. And you may not have a chance to get much time or space based on what you do and how you live. You may have a large family and people who actually do need you to do stuff. When you have younger kids, they kind of need you to do stuff, but find some time away from them and away from the loved ones that want to support and love and help you, but can understand that you need a little buffer time to work on that as well. 2021 is going to be 365 days, just like basically every normal year, leap seconds, whatever, notwithstanding. So we're only 8 days in, 7 full days in the beginning of the eighth day. So we got a long ways to go. So just be prepared for it. I'm planning on surviving. I'm planning on thriving. I'm planning on launching a couple brand new things because the last year has essentially got me fed up about so many things that I've learned that I've got to whittle out the things that do not really matter and focus on a few things that do. So going forward this year, you're going to see me be a lot more focused, even though you usually see me doing a lot of work, a lot more focused work on things that will have a bigger impact. A lot more serious because just turned 46. So 3 years from now, 3 years and 2 years and some months, I'm going to be turning 50 years old. And while 50 isn't as necessarily as old as it used to be, it means something, and it should mean something. And there's wisdom in making it to that number that, in some cases, I'm seeing that's been lost or being misused or just isn't working out there in the world. I don't see 50 years of wisdom around me specifically, and I need to figure out why. And because I am who I am, I'm going to go fix it, and that's my intention. And I'm going to do more reaching out directly to you, and it's something that I am not great at doing, something I don't necessarily like doing, but it's something that I assumed as other things would work out would just sort of come along, and it hasn't. So I'm gonna have to, take matters in my own hands and do something that I'm not a big fan of, and that's reaching out directly to you, one-on-ones, things like that. So look out for more things like that. So with that, I want to say thank you so much for joining me for this 30 minutes, 27 minutes so far of Bubble Friday and of staying hydrated and staying limber, and the simple message is to be prepared for a very long year. Thank you so much for joining me for the editions we had from home. Thank you so much for all the great feedback I got from the Christmas Day edition. It wasn't necessarily hard to do Christmas Day and New Year's Day. It's just basically turn on the camera and do it. But thank you so much for the love for the Christmas Day edition, where my wife, Christine with a K, and daughter, JJ, were a part of it. They're essentially just too busy blowing bubbles that they weren't an active part of it, but they were a part of it. And for allowing me the test run I did on New Year's Day with some new equipment at the house to try to test some things out. That wasn't the greatest looking or the greatest sounding edition, but it's about consistency. I've been doing this since spring of 2020, and we hadn't missed a day. Pretty proud of that. So one more blow of bubbles before we get out here and get started on the very, very horrible, miserable, terrible, terrible, rough day that I expect to have. Not because it's a bad day, but we have a lot of moving parts to getting things right next week. And there's, as always, a lot of things aren't in place. A little early for me, so the day's not quite over, but blowing away the stress, the strife, and some of the frustration from the past week, even though I'm rolling to more of it for next week, but it is what it is. So here's the thing. Congratulations. Outstanding job. Way to go. You woke up this morning. You woke up, you blinked, you moved your fingers, moved your toes, you sat up out of your bed. You also found a way to get in front of some sort of electronic device that allows you to see or hear my voice in its either live version or recorded version somewhere in the ether. So whether it's a Friday, a Tuesday, a Thursday, a morning, an afternoon, an evening, you, at the moment you're hearing this message, because you're hearing it right now, we're blessed. You're blessed with a gift of life. and you're blessed with the gift of life and the ability to actually function in life. You had faculties, you can interact, you can maneuver, and you have resources. You have a phone, a tablet, a computer. A person with a phone, tablet, or computer who's playing this to the very loud, and you can't understand why you're listening to this guy chattering. But you have access to people, places, and things. And number one, you have access to you and you. So go out there today and do something that's kind of cool. That's kind of awesome. That's kind of extraordinary. I don't have any homework for you today other than to stay limber, stay hydrated. But make sure you go out there and do something special for this beginning of the year. Make sure you know that make sure you let people around you know that you got their backs for whatever the long haul duration of this thing is, because I got your back for whatever the long haul duration of this thing is. Thank you so much for spending time with me. You cannot fathom how appreciative I am of seeing the eyeballs pop up of people watching this thing in live, and then going back and seeing people clicking on it in the future. It means more than you could ever understand. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for your time. Your time is the most important. Time is most important thing that I cherish, other than my family itself. Time, because it's time where you get a chance to spend time with those you care about, and sometimes those you don't care about, to make sure that things are taken care of. Thank you for spending your time with me, whether it was live for how much time you spent or for in the future. If you want to support the efforts, at the bottom there's a crawl that tells you how you can help keep this thing going, keep me caffeinated. Although the kettle is hot, I didn't get a chance to pour a first cup of coffee, so that's the first thing I'm doing. And then I'm going to check a couple comments, and then I got to go hit the road and get things moving. Literally have to move, not quite mountains, but equipment from A to B, and get things set up for what's going on. Leave any comments you want to wherever you're seeing this. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube. We're going to put it in a couple places. We'll probably put it on the website in the future for some sort of archiving purposes. We'll see. You never really know. I have much more thought out and planned out and actually better produced pieces at jclevelandpayne.net, and jclevelandpayne.net/podcast is where the audio are. I'm also writing more, so if you just go to the website, you'll see articles. I try to write every single day. That's not happening as well as I'd like it to, but we're going to make sure we just stay consistent and do what we can do. Sometimes we can only do what we can do, and then we have to just sit back and rest up and prepare for more. So for all you who've joined me live, thank you so much. For all you who will join me as this thing lives in ether forever, thank you very much. I will see you, because we're going to stay consistent. I'm just going to say it. We'll see you next Friday. Enjoy your time down, your downtime, time off. Those are confused and mixed up. And take a little time to blow the stress away, because there will be more. Stay limber, stay hydrated. I'm going to try to stay off the internets for a little bit. Talk to you guys soon.